Hello again. We are back at it again. Today we are going to do Chinese expired dish. It's gonna be like a stir fry. I found this at Walmart, and it's orange ginger. This is 1 carb per serving. Then I found this supreme soy sauce which is excuse me, 0 carbs. And then we have green beans, like a cup of green beans, 2 cups of broccoli, some green onions, probably like a tablespoon and a half, 4 tablespoons of butter, but I'm gonna split that in half. That's why it's in half. And then mushrooms, like a cup and a half of mushrooms. I did not measure this out, okay? And then I have cauliflower, which is gonna substitute for your rice, because rice is high in carbs, carbohydrates, and 2 grams of fiber. So the net carbs, if you go by net carbs, it'll be two net carbs per serving. I'm gonna turn my pan on medium heat. And first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prepare the chicken. I'm gonna cook the chicken first. So I'm gonna use my coconut oil that I got from HEB. I'm gonna use that. Try to take some of that coconut oil out of the scoop. So that was a tablespoon of coconut oil. Let's melt together. Ooh. Yeah, I just touched it. I'm surprised I haven't done it yet. Okay, so to season my chicken, I'm just gonna use garlic and seasoned salt. That's it. I use a 25% low sodium, so that way, hopefully I don't over salt my food. I'm just gonna pour my seasoning and I'm just sprinkling. So that's my default seasoning. If I'm not sure what type of seasoning I want to use, I always use those 2 seasonings. And this is not a recipe I found online. It was just something that I found, this marinade in the store. Marinade. I found this marinade in the store. And I was like, oh, I can make. And then I went from there. And I knew what type of vegetables that are keto friendly and that I enjoy having. So that's how I determined what I was going to put it in. So you can do any seasonings that you may prefer. You don't have to use those seasonings or those vegetables. You can use different vegetables that you may like. Maybe you don't like mushrooms, you could opt out on the mushrooms and just do the green beans and the broccoli if that's better for you. So per the audience you're serving, that's how you can make your adjustments. So I'm cooking the chicken till it's golden brown. Could coat this with almond flour and do a fried type if you like. I didn't do it today, but next time I'll try that next. But today I was just trying to make it simple and just pan fry. And you don't have to use as much oil as I did. I did use a little bit more, but if there's oil left, then I'll just throw my vegetables inside this oil. And breaking the chicken apart, making smaller pieces. And to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. Let's move these aside on this little platter right here. Then I'm gonna add more of the rest of the chicken. could cut your chicken before you actually put it on the pan. I just didn't this time. Of course, you don't want to leave your chicken on too long because it will dry out. I know somebody wants to critique me for this. I know. But guess what? I am not a professional chef. This is not what I do for a living. I do cook. I just don't do this for a living. Like certified and all that other stuff. I do have a food handler card because of my previous job, so I do know how to make sure, everything is that way. I am going to cook the rice. So I'm going to add the green onions. I'm going to add my soy sauce to the mix. So I'm going to add my cauliflower rice. I'm going to do half. I'm not going to do the whole bag. I'm going to do half of it. Add the soy sauce just so it can cook in it. Just so that the flavor. Cauliflower really doesn't taste like nothing to me. It might taste something to someone else, but for me, whatever the flavor you season with is what it's going to taste like. You could do fresh cauliflower. I just use the frozen one because that's what I had available to me. That is the cauliflower rice. So what I want to do is I want to add an egg. I'm going to add a little bit of soy sauce to my egg, just a little bit. And let's break the yolk. So you don't have to add the egg. It's just, give you that feeling of fried rice. I'm gonna take this one. So that butter. Then I'm going to cook the vegetables. So how you cook your vegetables is your preference. Some people like their vegetables crunchy and some people like them soft. So depending on your audience that you're cooking for, depending on you, is how you can. I'm just gonna add all this together. Cover it. And actually, I'm gonna add some more oil to it. I'm gonna add some olive oil to it. Avocado oil to it. Just a little bit. I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna let that cook. If you want to add seasoning to it, you're more than welcome. I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper. I'm not going to add more salt because the soy sauce is salt enough and already has seasoning to the chicken, and this is gonna have enough salt in it also. Yeah, it has enough sodium in it. So just be careful when it comes to your seasoning because a lot of the low carb keto friendly stuff has a lot of salt in it. So you can easily over salt your food. So just be careful with that. I'm gonna add some garlic powder. I'm gonna add more saltiness to it. Because I already added soy sauce to the egg and the cauliflower rice. And the chicken already has seasonings on it also. And if you want, you could add more soy sauce to it, if anything, if you want to still give it some more flavor. especially if you're not supposed to have a lot of salt in your diet. You really got to pay attention and monitor how much seasoning you're adding to your food and how much salt is in the other stuff that you're eating. So just be very careful with that. But you don't have to necessarily use the seasonings that I use. You can do a different seasoning if you like. You don't have to necessarily do it exactly like that. Especially if you have like a Mrs. Dash that's low in sodium or don't have any sodium in it. That would be good to season your chicken with versus how I did it. I like my vegetables on the soft side versus the crunchy side. So I will cook mine until they're fully cooked. And I had already been using the sauce. There's probably like 1/4 of the bottle left. So I will pour all of it in there. This already has soy sauce in it. So if you don't want to add soy sauce to your dish, you don't have to. I just don't like the flavor of soy sauce. So, especially when I have Asian inspired meal. I'm surprised I don't have more mushrooms in that in there because mushrooms are one of my favorite vegetables. And then be careful when you pick your soy sauce that you look at the carbs because some of it is like 2 carbs per a tablespoon. Attention to that because if you use something with carbs in it, just make sure you're not using so much that it adds on, it brings you over your carb count for the day. So depending on how many carbs you want to eat per day, it's depending on how you count your carbs. I try to do no more than 60 carbs a day, 50 to 60, and I just count based off of that. Not to go to 60, but I just give myself some grace. So that's why I say 60. But sometimes, depending on what you may have available to you, depending on how many carbs you might consume, I don't want to have to be upset or disappointed that I'm not at 55 carbs and I went to 60. And then some people also count their calories. I don't do the calorie part, but I just try to maintain my carbs for the most part. Calories do matter, but I know that my foods are usually not high in calories, so I don't really like overly concern myself, overly think about the calories, because I know at the end of the day, I'm going to work out and things like that. So of course the broccoli and the mushroom's gonna cook quicker than your green beans. I do not mind my green beans to be a little crunch. It doesn't have to be soft all the way. Kind of happy with how it looks. I'm gonna go ahead and combine all things. I'll put this back in. You don't have to put it back together like this if you don't want to. You could just put your sauce with your chicken and let it sit for a little bit and just combine it on your plate how you like. You can do it like that, but I like to combine it together, so it's just my preference. I'm gonna add the chicken back in also. Shake it, shake it, shake it. All right. So now I want to add my sauce. Like I said, it's a 1/4 bottle left, so I'm just gonna put the whole thing in there. because I even use it for wings. I baked my wings, and then when they were done, I put it on top, and I put it back in the oven for a little bit. And yeah, so I use it for thing. And let it just all simmer together. The cauliflower rice, you can put it in the microwave. Sometimes I just eat it as a side and just season it, and it's my rice. So if I want like a rice with my meal type vibe situation, then I have to do that. Since I added cheese in it one time, things like that. So that is what I do. So I'm going to reduce the heat and let it just simmer on down. Simmer on down. So I'm just going to plate it, but normally I would let it sit for like 10 minutes or so. But I just want you guys to see the end result. And there you go. This is my Asian inspired meal. So there you have it. Thank you for joining me again today. We out here in these streets. All right, I will see you next time. I hope you have a great and wonderful day. Enjoy, try it. You can modify however you need to for you, for your audience. You have a good day. I know y'all heard the garbage can being outside. That was, yeah, very nice and lovely. They don't have a consistent time when they come and go, but there you go.